over the past few decades, there's been a really big and still growing body of evidence from marine biologists and bioacousticians that are showing quite clearly the amount of harm being caused by elevated noise levels in the ocean environment, much of which is caused by shipping, by marine traffic. A lot of the focus over the past few years has been on large vessels. In shallow coastal waters, small vessels, recreational vessels, can actually dominate the soundscape. But there is a lack of data on how much noise these vessels are producing and how changes in speed, how changes in loading condition, how changes in weather can impact on the noise levels radiated into the environment.
The overall objective of my research was to understand the factors that led to underwater radiated noise due to a boat. These factors would include the motions of the boat, the slamming of its bow, as well as its engine vibrations. So my research was more focused towards the motions of the boat to understand how it was a cause to noise, which was recorded as well from a distance through hydrophones in the water.
BMT are a large maritime consultancy involved in both vessel design for naval vessels and commercial vessels, as well as some recreational vessels. There's an increasing awareness of the impact of noise on marine life, and they're interested in getting a better understanding of how a vessel's design and operating conditions influence the noise that's radiated from them.
We decided to commission this piece on underwater radiated noise. The project experience from start to finish was really easy. We started off by, first of all, understanding the broader problem, so more of a literature review type of work, but then followed on quite quickly by doing actual real-world trials, getting our hands on real data to test out those theses.
We chartered 2 boats from Plymouth. The boat was a pilot vessel which could plane at about 16 knots. The second boat was a rigid inflatable boat which could go up to 30 knots.
This research has highlighted chiefly that small boats do make a considerable amount of noise, and they should be considered as part of the ongoing discussions at national and international levels on the impact of marine traffic on marine ecosystems.
The project has enabled us to build up that database of knowledge and understand what the different engine configurations and how they're attached to the hull and what difference that makes to our designs. So we've been able to learn from that and see what went wrong on maybe some of the more noisy vessels and be able to make sure that that's counteracted in real life.
We had 4 students who decided to embark upon this project. This was quite a challenging project. It was quite an unusual project to get students out doing things at sea, even for a relatively short period of time. They had to do a huge amount of preparation beforehand to make sure they understood some quite complicated equipment. One of the students, Carthy, actually made the sensor herself. She made a sensor that could measure motions and slamming and vertical acceleration.
UCL has an amazing reputation, especially in the maritime sector. And so by pulling on that previous expertise, that enabled us to start off right where we need to be.
I think for industry, there's 2 main benefits to coming to us with industry-sponsored projects. The first is that you are giving a real problem to a group of students that they can help you solve. That brings a fresh take on things. It brings a fresh perspective on things. Industry-sponsored projects also give students a really good insight into how industry works, how industry engages with academia, and how industry solves these sorts of problems, but also the sorts of problems that industry is currently facing. So industries, particularly in the maritime industry, are facing huge problems around how to adapt, to reduce emissions, to reduce the impact we have on the environment, to improve the effectiveness of how they operate with ever smaller crews. And this gives our students a really good opportunity to put their theory to the test.